And as the first flakes flutter from the heavens, you just know what's going to happen. The whole country's going to take a snow day, or make that a snow week, in fact. Flights will be grounded, schools closed, trains will be cancelled, Piers Morgan will tweet, "We're a nation of snowflakes," as you just said. We have a few inches of the white stuff and everything stops working. In other countries, they cope fine with metres of snow, but not us. And days after the so-called snow bomb, thousands of schools were still closed, citing elf, haha, and safety first. Baby, yes, it's cold outside and there's some white mush on the ground. But this doesn't have to mean we close the country down. What's happened to our famous grit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Grits.
Here, here. Yeah.
Rachel, you're going to... If
What?
you did what you wanted to suggest, you're going to lose something that's very British.
What?
What?
Well, the inability to cope with with weather is a very British. It's a British phenomenon. I quite like
It's
it.
quite a new one, because if you looked at the social media, people were writing into the Daily Express and Daily Mail saying, we never had a snow day when I was growing up in the 30s or the 40s.
Or even in the
80s.
Those
No, we didn't have...
I'll let you finish.
No, you're right. We didn't have snow days, but that was the days before health and safety had taken over the world, wasn't it, really? I mean, the trouble today... the trouble today is you say, right, all come into the school and someone falls over in the playground and gets injured and there's all sorts of things.
Because how come... It's extraordinary. There's a part of London where I know someone whose child goes to a private school and she has been walking her children past a state school, which has been closed, or I shouldn't say, but one day this week, and the private schools stay open. There's a real difference. It's interesting. If you drill down, whatever the reasons it is, the private schools, whether they just realise that they're taking tons of money off the parents, so they're going to open the gates, and in too many instances, schools open, and I did this on the radio show, because the teachers decide that it's too dangerous for them to even get to the school. So then the head teachers are faced with the prospect, I haven't got enough teachers to legally police or look after my children. Let's say the ratio is 1 to 25, I've made that up. Hang on, if all everybody comes in, I'm breaking the law.
But are we
so there are so many other aspects, Greg.
Are we only talking about school? Because I mean, I went to Bristol and went to places this week driving, and actually I was amazed by how good the roads were.
How is the HGV job going now?
It's really good. Yes,
It's the one job he has.
I was delivering hats somewhere. I don't know what it was.
No, you got that wrong. He owns the company.
They should be ashamed of themselves. In Birmingham and elsewhere, shutting 2,500 schools.
Yes.
Graham White, who is the National Education Union, he said schools are for education, not for childminding, and that was in response to all the parents who were complaining. Well, if they are for education, stop worrying about ambulance chasing lawyers and compote and teach kids. Do you know what?
I think it's really...
But when I was at school, the headmaster, if it was snowing the night before, he would go to the schoolyard, he would chuck a pail of hot water on the snow to make it ice, so we'd have an ice rink the next day, so we could all skate up and down the blooming ice rink. That's what it was like in the North East.
Well, that was the North East. You should introduce him to the health and safety officer for that.
Not interested.
Wasn't invented.
Nick did raise a good point, which is that schools, all the schools protested that they weren't childminders, and parents couldn't complain because they had no one to look after their kids. And, you know, if the teachers aren't physically present, you can't have hundreds of children arriving at a school because who's going to do crowd control? So this is my idea. Why don't the emergency services, if they know it's going to be a school day, for goodness sake, we've got the Weather Channel, we know when we're going to have a snowball.
3 days before,
make sure the teachers are somehow conveyed in safety to the school and therefore can be there to receive the
I suspect they didn't want to go.
Well, of course, I know you say
Christmas shopping days.
This is self-fulfilling, because this generation, if they become teachers, will say, oh, it's snowing, I remember I didn't use it. So this, you will never, unless you do what I understand they do in France.
Which is what?
Hold that thought. I'd say after, you see what I'm keeping people around. Right, hold that thought. June, I'll tell you what they do in France after you.
OK, so when I was a kid, I remember we moved back from Ghana to the UK in the early 80s. And so imagine I'd been in this hot country, and Christmas for me and January was hell because we still had to go to school. It was freezing, snow everywhere, and I would sit in the playground crying every day. But you know what? I was better for it. It made me the tough woman that I am.
Stayed open.
Stayed open.
I'm surprised they let you wear shoes, actually.
And grass skirts, actually.
Right, I'm moving on from that.
What
in France, and I think it's something like €10 a term, each parent takes insurance So if their son and daughter is injured in a hockey game or rugby or whatever, they are or falls over in the school during snow or ice, they are covered by a separate insurance policy, so the schools can open, and if a child does fall down the stairs,
so be it.
The insurance company steps in.
In Austria, there's a law that says people have to go out and clear the snow outside your front
door.
Same
in America.
Yes, that's the law. And also in Austria, if the jobless get sent out, they get paid €20 a day to clear the snow off the roads.
I like that idea.
So do I.
Yeah.
I mean, but
we haven't got any jobless.
But this is countries who've got a can-do attitude. We've got a can't-do attitude.
Interrupt quickly. No. So you were saying a minute ago, is it just schools? No, it's not. No. It's our sportsmen as well. So let's have a look. So let's see the Saracens in North London. Snow, closed, no one around. Look at that, completely empty. Just one person.
Could you play rugby on a snowy pitch?
Well, clearly you can, because look at the NFL. Look at this.
Good lad.
This is what we're talking about.
See, that's
getting it done.
Yeah. Still touchdowns.
June, I've got something else to show you, though.
That's what we want to see.
Dead right.
Dead right.
It wasn't like that. That was in North London. But the thing was, it wasn't a blanket all over the whole country. And actually, Sophie Ridge, our lovely Sky presenter, during the snow bomb, tweeted this, which shows a tiny smear of snow on some pavement and a sort of complete lock, the whole country had closed down.
But, this wasn't extreme weather in any way, shape or form. We've got transport bosses, rail bosses, people on madly obscene salaries who can't handle a not very challenging situation. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying, because there will just be more, as I say,
self-fulfilling.
And I think someone... But how on earth... Was it you who said, how on earth do they operate in Canada or Norway?
Precisely.
You know what they do?
But they expect it, and therefore they invest a lot more. No, but we don't get enough of it. In Norway, you know you're going to get snow, and therefore you have all the equipment. But here, you don't. We go whole years without snow, don't
what
we?
happened
Not many.
Heathrow and British Airways invested millions and millions into snow clearing equipment, which they knew they were going to only use for 6 days a year or something, but they still cancelled hundreds of flights,
but I understand
didn't they?
that's again because staff didn't turn up. So there's this idea, now that's only reported, but the idea that if a number of staff don't turn up, then you've got anybody to get the bags off the planes, or you haven't got anybody to open the doors, or, with the baseball, with the table tennis rackets, whatever, you bring some...
But do you remember in 2010 where it was... Do you remember we ran out of salt as a nation? There was no salt to grit the roads, no grit. And they brought out this snow code to mean that it was called a snow code, and to make sure we had salt in the future. But one of the clauses in the snow code was to tell people how to avoid lawsuits for clearing their own path. And so Australia have to do it. In this country, we give instructions on how to sue people if you clear your road and people get hurt. I mean, that's how weaselly we are. It's incredible.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And the weather is going to become even more erratic. So
outside is
we better figure this out.